Hi there, it is Sharon Jameson from the Jameson Group, and I am so excited about continuing the series on why women struggle in relationships. Even though we saw great sisterhood this weekend with the marches all across the world, there are still ways that as women we can interact with each other from a place of love and a place of sisterhood. And last week I talked about the importance of having clarity, and I said that many times women struggle because they don't know who they are and they don't know who they are not. And when people don't have a sense of their own self-awareness, many times they are not grounded. And as a result, they become a slave to the needs of others. They become a slave to the expectations of others because they are not grounded in their own sense of identity. And I also said that when women don't know who they are, unfortunately, what happens is that they can't connect with other women in healthy ways. Instead of having a healthy connection, they have a destructive collision, because when two people don't know who they are, they can't help each other, they can't support each other, and as a result, they have relationships that are filled with frustration, because ambiguity always breeds anxiety, and a lack of clarity always breeds confusion. So many women, if they don't know who they are, it's difficult to be in relationships with other women, because women who don't know who they are become chameleons. They become people pleasers, and they become what I call shapeshifters. Women who don't know who they are, they become imposters and frauds and fakes and phonies, and as a result, many people don't really want to engage with them because they lack stability. You want to know who you're dealing with, and if people don't know who they are, sometimes on Monday they're one person, Tuesday they're somebody else, Wednesday they have another personality, Sunday they have another personality. When people change based on who they are around, that means that they don't have clarity, and it means that it's very difficult and sometimes dangerous to be in relationships with them. So that's one reason. The second thing I talked about last week is that women have difficulty being in relationships with each other because most women don't know how to deal with conflict. And I said that conflict is an invitation to grow and not an invitation to fight. Hey, Cabrini. However, if people can't handle conflict, many times they engage in very destructive ways. I believe that conflict is so needed because conflict is healthy. It helps us identify what we're feeling. It helps us define our issues. It helps us refine our understanding. And many times we can't get to our total truth without illumination, without examination, without exploration. And so many times if women can handle conflict, they really cannot be in relationship with each other, but it really prevents them from growing. Remember, conflict is an invitation to grow, it's never an invitation to fight. And if we are able to be in conflict with each other, we both grow, we both expand, because we have an opportunity to discuss and engage in information and discuss and engage in ways that help us understand who we are and also understand who we are not. When people are not emotionally stable, are spiritually mature, people take conflict the wrong way. They feel as if a rejection of their opinion is a rejection of them. That's why it's so important to grow, to understand that you can attack the thought without attacking the thinker. You can attack the perspective without attacking the person. You can attack the belief without attacking the believer. But we have to get to a point that we are mature enough and spiritually aware enough that we can engage in healthy conflict so that we both can grow. So I talked about those two areas last week. Today I want to talk about the challenge that women struggle to give each other healthy critique. Yes, we need to critique each other because none of us become our best selves by ourselves. We all have blind spots and we need to grow. Now here's the challenge. If you are a person that you're so fragile, so emotionally mature that somebody can't give you feedback, that's an issue. Many times, if we have not grown to a point that we can accept feedback, we will never grow. We have to have someone speak into our lives to show us our blind spots, because we all have blind spots. But we have to understand that we can love someone just as they are, but we should love them enough not to leave them as they are. If they are flirting with foolishness, dancing with dysfunction, playing with pathology, we need to check them. We need to say, hey sis, you're not being all that you can be. You are not being all that you were designed and anointed to be. If you love someone, you protect their character and you protect their gift. And to do that, you have to give them feedback from a place of correction and not from a place of condemnation. Now here's the problem. Not only are people fragile and so emotionally mature that they cannot give each other healthy critique, some people don't know how to give critique. And so instead of giving people information that will help them and elevate them, we give them information that will crush them. So what do? First, we work on ourselves so that we can have people speak into our lives. I believe that feedback is information that you put back in your life to feed your future. Feedback, put it back in your life to feed your future. But you can only do that when you are confident enough to know what information that you should take and apply and what information that you should throw away. But we have to be careful when we feel that everybody is not that's trying to hurt us. Some people are not trying to hurt you. Sometimes feedback hurts because the truth hurts. But if somebody's your friend, they should love you enough to be able to speak into your life, to tell you the truth, even if it means it's going to hurt your feelings. And you should be really spiritually aware enough and emotionally aware enough that you don't fall out on the floor and cuss somebody out and stop being friends. I have one of my clients who was kicked out of a mastermind. Kicked out because she was so fragile that she could not withstand critique. Listen, all of us need to be critiqued. None of us would be our best selves by ourselves. Allow people to speak into your life and accept it if they're your friends and they love you, and use that information to make you better, to make you bolder, to make you stronger. Everybody is not trying to hurt your feelings, but however, sometimes your feelings need to be hurt because you are living raggedy. I know raggedy is not a word, but sometimes you're living raggedy and you need to be checked, and people who love you will love you enough to tell you, listen sis, come up a little higher. Listen sis, that does not serve you. Listen sis, that does not support you. Listen sis, that does not honor you. You need people to tell you the truth. And if a person loves you, they will tell you the truth. So women struggle when they cannot accept critique, but I also want to challenge all women to learn how to give each other critique from a place of love. There's no such thing as a brutal truth. Truth is always given in love. You don't need to damage someone. You don't need to hurt someone. You can be diplomatic without being degrading. I'm going to say it again. You can be diplomatic without degrading. And if your goal is always to elevate someone, you shouldn't have to worry about exterminating someone because you're trying to cripple them with your critique. We should, again, help people be better and not try to cripple them and chastise them and degrade them because we cannot deliver criticism and critique in a healthy way. So I think that's really, really important. The fourth reason why I think women struggle is this thing about competition. Competition. Now, I want to say that competition, the reason why we struggle is because of jealousy. And jealousy comes from a place of fear. People fear being left out. People fear being left behind. People fear being pushed aside. Jealousy is all about fear. And however, some people, if they're not emotionally aware of what's going on, they don't understand that they're fearful. They don't understand that they're being threatened. They will feel that your celebration means their degradation. And so we have to be careful when we start feeling any feelings, because jealousy feels terrible. When we start feeling like we have to throw shade and versus shedding light, that should really caution us to get quiet in ourselves. Competition and jealousy is a place, and it provides an opportunity for us to learn about ourselves. It gives an opportunity for us to understand why we are hating on each other versus loving each other. But many times we don't want to deal with uncomfortable feelings. Jealousy is uncomfortable. But I don't believe that jealousy is a reason to break up relationships if the relationship has some merit. Now, what can we do when we feel jealous? One, get quiet. Because jealousy will let you know what's going on. It will let you know, do I feel left out? Do I feel left behind? Do I feel pushed aside? And we should be able to get quiet and understand, are we jealous because somebody's getting married? Are we jealous because somebody is getting promotion? Do we feel that we don't have those opportunities ourselves? Get clear about that. After we are clear about that, I believe that if you can talk to the person that you feel jealous with and be honest with them, conversations can be as simple as, you know what, I miss you. Or you know what, you're my friend and I feel like we're not spending time together. I miss engaging with you. That can really provide an opportunity for us to grow and have real sisterhood versus feeling someone is jealous and they leave the relationship. Now, if you leave the relationship without having this courageous conversation, both people lose, because sometimes people are not jealous of you, one, and two, if they are jealous of you, address it. We run as women, we run from difficult conversations, and instead of having conversations provide an opportunity for us to grow, we allow conversations that are difficult to gut us. Grow us or gut us. They should grow us and not gut us. But we have to be able to be in that vulnerable place to say, listen, I miss you. I feel left out. I feel that I'm not going to have an opportunity. Because if we're honest as women, we all have felt jealous of each other. Be honest. It might have not been today, last week, it might have been 2 years ago. We all remember how that feels and how painful that is. But if we love each other and remember what that feels like, and then reach out to each other if the relationship is relationship worthy. Remember, relationships are only relationship worthy when a person is spiritually mature, intellectually equipped, and spiritually aware. Those types of people are relationship worthy. Now, if the relationship is not relationship worthy because the person has no self-awareness, no self-understanding, the person has no growth, then those are relationships where you feel jealous and you don't want to engage, to leave those relationships alone. Because some relationships need to die. They don't need to be resurrected. But there's some relationships that we leave prematurely because we won't engage in a healthy conversation to let them know, listen, I feel jealous. I have to tell you, one of my friends a couple of years ago, I felt extremely jealous of her. I felt that she was having so much success and I was working so hard and I wasn't getting ahead. So what did I do? I didn't act like I wasn't jealous, because that's a lie. And I'm not a liar, and my relationships are too important for me to be a liar within the relationship. So I went to her and said, listen, sis, I'm really struggling. I love what's going on with you. I really support and celebrate your advancement, but I'm really feeling some type of way. It is not about you. Can you help me with these feelings? And I was honest with her, and we both grew from the engagement. We both grew. She helped me, and I helped her. But we had that conversation that needed to happen so that we can eradicate jealousy. I believe that jealousy is really demonic. And it is a spirit that when it affects our relationships, it infects us in a way that it takes the power and takes the possibility and it takes the potential of what can happen from relationships. Because remember, only the relationships that are usually infected with jealousy are powerful relationships. Our friends who ain't doing nothing, who don't have a dream, our friends are people who we engage with who don't have a goal. There's never jealousy because nobody's doing anything. Jealousy happens when two people are striving, and that's when the jealousy has a way of servicing to really bring strife in the relationship, to make the relationship lose its potency. It is a demon. It is a spiritual issue. And so I think when we are spiritually aware, we call it. And we'll say, hey, you know what? This is jealousy. This is not about us. But you rule it out, you identify it, and you get it out of your relationship so both people can grow and both people can really be effective. Because many times the people who we lose in our lives are our allies, not our liabilities. And what you don't want to do is allow unaddressed, unacknowledged feelings to prevent you from really having good relationships, good support systems with people who can do you the most good. So I believe that competition and jealousy is something that we have. I think we have to root it out. I think we have to identify it. We have to identify jealousy in ourselves, and also identify jealousy when it creeps in our relationships, because you can only, when the devil calls, you got to call the devil out. And jealousy is not something to be played with, so don't allow it to disrupt and devalue and deny and degrade and defile your relationships. Call it what it is to root it out. So again, we talked about two different areas today that impact our ability to have fruitful conversations. Again, critique. We have to have relationships when we can critique each other. We never will become our best selves by ourselves. We need people to speak into our lives, to give us feedback. And if people are not in your lives to give you feedback, you will never be your best self. We all have blind spots. We need people to help us, to tell us when we are not looking good, we are not being good, when we are not showing up in our full power. People who love you will hold you accountable, and you have to let them speak into your life without falling out, without cussing them out, without getting so offended. If you are so shallow that you cannot withstand rebuke, you need to go be on an island all by yourself, because we all have to grow, right? And then the second thing we talk about is competition. Competition is an unhealthy spirit. We have all felt it. Let's not be self-righteous about it. We have felt it. Let's call it. Let's identify it, and let's keep it out of our relationships. But we can only keep it out when you call a spade a spade. Call it a thing, and address it, because really many times it is our closest relationships, the ones that are most valuable, the ones that help us the most, where competition seeps in. And when competition seeps in, it makes us both weaker. Have the courageous conversation. You are worth it, and your friendships are worth it. But if they're not worth it, that's different. But I'm talking about the healthy ones, your inner circle, people who have been your friends for 5-10 years, people who have always celebrate you. Always remember that queens shed light, they don't throw shade. So just know that you're a queen, and that you don't need to be jealous of anyone, because you're amazing just the way you are, and the best is yet to come. So I gave you 10 over these last 3 weeks. There are 5 more, but I'm gonna have a webinar on the last 5 remaining reasons, because I want to be able to engage with you. And unfortunately, I can't really do Facebook Live and read at the same time, because I just can't function that way. But I hope this was helpful. Listen, be on the lookout. I'm going to send out something to sign up, because I want us to address those last 5 areas why women struggle, because I believe that as women, our collective power, we have the power to change the world. We have the power to change society. We have a power to change the government. We are demonstrating that when we're together, we have power. So let's work together so we can really harness our power in a way to change the ethos of the world. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Let's dare to soar higher, and hope to see all of you on the webinar. Where we can talk about those live 5 things. And if you don't have the Dare to Soar Higher coaching guide, go to my website, www.SharonJameson, and get one, and because we're going to address those things too. So see you in the webinar, where I will discuss those last 5 areas and review the entire 10 that we have discussed already together. So thanks so much, sisters. Sisterhood rocks. Sisterhood is the way that we love each other. And again, thanks so much for being here. Blessings.